welcome to the How to Market Your Horse Business podcast. I'm so glad you're joining me here today. As you've likely guessed by now, my name is Denise Alvarez. I get to host you here each week. And before we dive into a powerful year-end review episode, I will quickly introduce myself in case we're new friends, and then we will jump right in. As I said, my name is Denise, and through my business, Storm Lily Marketing, I get to help dream-chasing horse business owners like yourself to see clearly through the marketing overwhelm so you can create a clear message and cohesive plan for your social media, website, and email marketing, a plan that will turn your online audience into your customers. Now, I do that through one-on-one coaching, as well as website design and website copywriting and education, such as this podcast and some online learning resources for you as well. My heart, friends, whether it's here on the podcast and one-on-one services or education, is to help you as an equestrian entrepreneur be out doing what you love in the equine industry. So whether you're in the barn, in the arena, behind the camera lens, behind the computer, doing in-person events, whatever it is that you love to do as you serve the equine industry, I want to help you do more of that. And so here on this podcast, you'll get a mix of step-by-step strategies, essential how-tos, and entrepreneurial mindset shifts that will help you not only see what's possible for your horse business, but I'm also here to guide you through that process so you can make it happen. And so we're going to make it happen today by supercharging your year-end review. Year-end reviews are crucial for you as an equestrian entrepreneur. This is something I have learned as I've been a business owner. I've learned how to do this personally and professionally, and it has just made a huge difference in how I approach the coming year. Now, some of you know that I am a perfectionist by nature. And so the other thing that's been really big for me is learning that progress over perfection is what we're aiming for. And so as we dive into some of these questions, that may be a reminder that you need. And if it is, I'll remind you again in a little bit. All right. We are celebrating progress, but we are also being strategic about how we do that and what we're looking at. So that means we need to measure progress. Now, as we look back over the year, which, as I said, is a crucial part of being a business owner, is setting aside time to do that. I want you to look at revenue and profit, those key numbers that are very important when you're building a business. But I want you to have other ways of measuring your progress. And we're going to talk about that because it's important to know how you, as an equestrian entrepreneur, are measuring progress in your business. And at the end of this episode, you will have an answer to that. But before we dive in, I do want you to grab your notebook. This is absolutely one of those episodes where you're going to want to take notes. And I want you to grab your calendar, open the calendar up on your phone. Because the reality is, if you listen to this episode and you don't take action, you don't sit down and answer these questions, then it's not going to do anything to help you make progress for the coming year. And this is too important of a process for you to skip if you are a growth-oriented equestrian entrepreneur. And I know that you are because you're here. So grab your calendar. I want you to plan to set a date to make this happen and grab your notebook so you can write down these key components and the questions I'm going to give you and the homework you're going to get so that you can create a year-end review that's really going to help you catapult you into the coming year. Now, my advice would be to set aside at least 1 hour, but if you can book 2 hours in your calendar, and that's what I would highly recommend, to be honest, like 1 hour minimum. But if you have 2 hours, that's going to allow you to really dive in. It's going to allow you to really make the most of this. But if you're saying, Denise, 2 hours, that's a dream. I get it. And remember, I'm sending you this episode. Let me tell you this. I'm sending you this episode now. It's going live the week before Christmas. I realize that everybody's last 2 and 3 weeks of December is different. Some of you are going to say, no problem, I can book this out. And some people are going to say, I need to wait until my family leaves town or I get back into town because I'm traveling. So the key here is to look at your calendar and see what works for you. There's not a perfect day or time to do this, but you do need to do it as you prepare and then set your goals for 2025. Now, if you're saying, whoa, goal setting, I didn't know we were there yet. We will get there at the end. But let me tell you this right now. If you don't have a goal setting process, I have one that you can borrow, and I put it into a free goal setting guide that you can get at any time. So if you go to stormlily.com/goals, you can get my free goal setting guide. It's going to give you a simple and effective strategy for setting goals for your horse business that you will actually stick to in the coming year. My idea is not to have you set goals and never look at them again. So we're going to break it down by quarters. We're going to get you action steps so that what you're doing throughout the year on a regular daily and weekly basis is aligned with the goals that you said you wanted to make happen for your business. So I have that resource for you, but before you go get it, let's look back over this past year together. If you've not done an official year-end review before, here's what it is, okay? It doesn't have to be scary. This is a time for you to look back with intention and gratitude, and also ask some specific questions about how you're going to take what you learned this year and apply it to your business in the coming year, all right? So if you have a year-end review process, consider this episode an opportunity for you to add to or refine your process. If you don't have one, then here you go. This is going to give you a great starting point. Now, before we dive in, I do want to let you know that the show notes will have a highlight of these questions and these 3 key components. So if you're not in a place where you're able to take notes so that you can apply this to your business, just go to stormlily.com/160 for episode 160, and I will have an outline there for you, all right? Or if you're somebody who just likes to listen and take notes later, then you can go grab those questions, okay? All right, let's dive in, friends. 3 key components that are going to supercharge your year-end review, and our first key component is a clear definition of success. You must start here if you want to have an effective year-end review. I'm going to break this down for you in 2 ways, okay? Number 1, do you have a clear why? What is the heart of your equestrian business? What's the mission of your business? And here's why I'm asking you this. Here's why I'm starting here. Because as you look back on this past year, what I'm asking you to do is do it with the filter of your why. Because you may have markers that look like quote unquote success to other people, but if it's not aligned with the purpose of your business, then it may not be success for you. It may not be the driver for you. And the same way, you may see things that you're going, this aligns perfectly with why I created my business. Other people may not see or understand it, but I know what the definition of success is here. I know what the why is behind what we're doing. And so that gives me a very clear and easy filter to use as I'm looking back over what's happened in the past year. So I want you to start always with a clear why. Now, if you go through my Take the Reins coaching program, this is why we start here. We do the same thing on our very first coaching call together. We define success. What is it you're working towards? And then we have a way to measure that. Just like we talked about, how do we measure progress? We've got to know what that's going to look like. We got to know what we're moving towards. So I need you to have a clear why, a clear mission in your business. And then you're going to look back over the year for ways that you are showing up in your business and in your community at large that align with the mission of your business. Okay, that is going to supercharge your year-end review because it's going to get you pumped up. Can I just tell you, when I am working with coaching clients and they have that clarity, then when we get on a call and they're able to share wins that align with the mission that they said, this is what I'm about, and now I'm getting to do more of that, those are exciting times. And when you can look back on your year and you can see that you're getting to do more of what's aligned with what you said is the heart of your business, it is exciting. It will pump you up for more, I promise. All right, the other part of this clearly defined success component is goals. Now, I just told you that I do have a goal setting process. Now, in this step, though, we're not setting goals. Okay. In order to have the most effective review, ideally, you had some goals to start your year. If you didn't, do not turn this off and don't fast forward just yet. Okay. But here's why this is so important. When we set goals that are future focused, we're thinking short term and long term goals. Both of those are so important. And then when we do that, again, we have a measuring stick. When we have really specific goals, we're able to look at that and look back on our year and review it in light of what we said we wanted to make happen in the year. When you have a clear goal, then you have a clear progress report, right? You have a clear measuring stick to see how close you are to meeting those goals or if you've surpassed those goals and what that looks like. But if you were not clear on your goals from the outset, you're going to have a harder time when you review your year because there was nothing definitive that you were aiming for. It was just progress for the sake of progress, growing for the sake of growing. And can we just say, even when you're growing your business, if your only goal is growth, then at some point you're very likely going to burn out. But if you have more specific goals and you have it connected to the why in your business, it is fuel. It is fuel for everything you're going to do. So the first key component that I want to make sure that you have in your year-end review is a clear definition of success. The second key component is data. You need to be tracking data. Now, I will tell you, for me, this coming year, so we are recording this in the end of 2024, so into 2025. For me, that is one of my goals, is to monthly track some specific things that I've identified for my business as key performance indicators. Things that I know when I am doing these things consistently, they're key performance indicators. My performance goes up in my business. They're key indicators of what the performance will be. That's what that means, okay? Essentially, it means you're going to measure what matters. And so for me, going into this year, I have identified that I want to do better with tracking the data that's relevant in my business. And so I'm going to encourage you, I'm doing this with more of my coaching clients as well, creating documents, simple sheets that they can go in and track the data that matters. And here's one of the reasons. There are a few reasons this is so important. Here's one of them. And it's based on this quote by Alfred Montepert. And he says, "Do not confuse motion and progress. A rocking horse keeps moving, but does not make any progress." I want to read that a second time. I want you to think about that. Motion is not progress. A rocking horse is moving, but that does not mean it's making progress. And so in our businesses, so often we can be doing busy work. We can be moving, but it doesn't mean we're making progress towards those goals that we have set. It doesn't mean we're making progress towards growing the business and making the vision come to life that we have for our equestrian businesses. And so one of the ways that we can make sure we're making progress is to measure. Measure what matters. Now, if you're saying, Denise, that sounds lovely, but it's December. I have not been doing that this year, and we're talking year-end review. It's not too late. Can I just tell you that? It's not too late. You don't have to be tracking these things every week. So if you think about it, 12 months of the year, can you go back and track some specific metrics for each month this year? Now you're seeing why maybe I told you could have 1 to 2 hours for this session, depending on what you need. But I want to encourage you to sit down and truly think about what are the things that matter in my business. And here's what I want you to consider. I want you to think about where your leads are coming from. Okay, as you consider what are my key performance indicators, it may be that when you go to shows, when you have a physical presence, then you get more leads. So one of the things that you might be measuring is how many shows you're going to be at. And then you're going to measure how many leads you got at each show. So I hope that breaks it down for you. You may need to measure if consistency on social media is an important metric for you. Perhaps you're going to measure how many times you posted every month, how many stories you created, how many conversations you had in direct messages. Measure the things that are related to the goals that you have for your business. Okay, so I want you to sit down and think about what that would look like for you. What would those key performance indicators be that you can track, that you have access to? It may be website visitors. Perhaps you know that your website is already optimized and it converts well, but you just need to get more traffic there. So maybe you're going to make a certain number of visitors per month one of your goals, and then you're going to say, I need to focus on traffic. So how do I get traffic to my website? Maybe it's how many business cards you hand out, how many flyers you put up, how many ads you're running. There are different ways you can be sending people to your website. Maybe it is the social media posts. Maybe it is presentations. Maybe you're an educator. Figure out what those things are, and then that's what you're going to measure. Okay. All right. So you need to have those key performance indicators, measure what matters. Go back for the past 12 months as a part of your year-end review process and say, every month, okay, where am I on these things? So if you look at it that way, you're not doing it weekly. If you're doing it monthly, hopefully that breaks it down a little bit for you and allows you to do that. But I want to encourage you to it can be a simple spreadsheet, okay? It can be very simple. It can be a piece of paper, but what I love about a spreadsheet is then you have historical data to refer to year over year. And you can share it with people. So if you're in coaching, for example, then I would have you put it in a spreadsheet so that I can see your numbers and we can track those things together. But the key here is to know what it is you need to track that's going to make a difference, impact the growth of your business, and help you to meet your goals. Put time on your calendar every month to track those moving forward. And right now, put time on your calendar to get the historical data from this year. Get that system in place. And part of that system is going to be adding it to your calendar every month so you don't forget to do it. Have a super simple system in place for tracking the things that matter. And then you're going to start the year ready to go. This is really going to catapult things for you. Now, the other thing for you in this, okay, remember, we're talking year-end review. So I want you to get your data and then I want you to sit with it for a little bit. Okay, because we're going to look at it in this next component. So this data piece is important. I want you to look at, I'm going to give you some more things to think about, okay? I want you to look at perhaps number of clients. Maybe if you have digital offerings, perhaps it's going to be number of products sold, number of certain courses sold, number of coaching slots that were filled, number of coaching slots that were available. Perhaps you're going to measure your email list growth. All of those things, all right, of course, income, and maybe it's income by offer so that you can break that down and look at it. Now, I'm not telling you to do all of these things. I'm giving you ideas for data that you can be tracking for your own equestrian business. So listen to these ideas and write down the ones that you think are what you need to be tracking in your business. Okay, so number one, we started with a clear definition of success. And now we're tracking data to help us see what elements are moving us toward that success. Where is their growth? What are the things that are going to get us there? And then the third component that I have for you today for your year-end review is called an after-action review. Now, I learned about this. This is not the same thing as your year-end review, okay? This is a component of this, okay? I learned about this first from Michael Hyatt. I use his full focus planner, which I love. I don't have an affiliate link for. I will just tell you it's my personally favorite planner because of the way it sets out a clear goal setting process and tracker and daily things, daily 3. Like, I just love it. And one of the things that they have every quarter is called an after action review. Now, this term actually comes from the military. They were the ones that, from my understanding anyways, from what Michael Hyatt had shared and what I found on a quick search online, is that they use this to assess a specific event and the outcomes. All right, so they may have a training session and then they would assess some specific questions. What were the outcome? What worked well? What didn't? And we'll talk about that. Okay, with the questions that I want you to ask. But the idea here is an after action review is a time where you sit down specifically in this year-end review process. So you're looking at your clear why. You're looking at your data. You've got it all collected there. And now you're going to ask yourself some key questions that are going to really catapult you into the coming year. All right? Because here's the reality. A year in review without action leaves you with a so what. What really makes a year-end review supercharged is when it sets you up for an even better year ahead. And so an after action review is after this year is over, after your launches are finished, after your shows are completed, after whatever it is that you had going on this year. We're going to ask these 3 key questions, okay? So I gave you 3 key components. Now I'm going to give you 3 key questions to ask as a part of your after action review. Question number 1, what worked? When you look at the data and you see those numbers spiking, what caused that? Evaluate. When you look back over the year and you think about how you felt during certain seasons and you like the way you felt during certain seasons, why is that? What was working well in that season that made you feel more calm, that made you feel energized maybe? Whatever it is that feeling was, what was going on during that season that was working well for you? When you were showing up consistently, what was working well? When you were sending out an email newsletter on a regular cadence, what was working well? Identify what worked well. The other thing I want you to think about when you think about what worked well is what's converting. What is working to turn your website visitors, your social media followers, the people you meet in person, the referrals that you get? What is working to turn those people into your clients and customers? What partnerships and collaborations worked really well this year? I want you to note all of those things that you see that worked well. And then the second question for you is to ask, what did not work this year? When you look back and you see seasons that were extremely difficult, what made it that way? When you look back and you look at your data and your stats and you see the numbers that are lower than you were expecting them to be, what was not working in that season that you maybe thought was going to work, right? But what didn't work well? Maybe there were team members that you've identified that are not working where they are, and you need to make some changes around that because it's not working. And you just know you guys went to that show and this person really struggled, or you had maybe some shipping issues. What didn't work this year? I want you to make a list of that as a part of your after action review for the year. And then the next question, the final question is, what will you change, continue, or discontinue? Now, I realize that's kind of 3 questions in one, so you can break that down. But essentially, knowing these things, this is our so what. Knowing what worked well, knowing what didn't work well, knowing what the numbers are showing us, and knowing what our filter is, going back to that clear why. What will you change in the coming year? What will you continue to do that worked really well and you're going to hone in on that? You're going to double down. What will you discontinue? It clearly did not work well. It doesn't align with the mission for your business. The data backs it up. You need to say goodbye to it. What is that? Write those things down. Now, again, remember, I'm giving you all of this information in a 20-30 minute podcast episode, but I realize these things are going to take some time. And so that's why I want you to block out the time that you need to answer these questions. Now, I'm going to give you another action step, okay? Because there's power in doing this together and having an accountability partner. So my encouragement to you is to find another business friend in the equestrian space that you can keep each other accountable and do this with, all right? Even if they don't get into the nitty-gritty and you don't share all of the data, can you just share with them these last 3 questions? Here's what didn't work this year. Here's what did work this year, and these are the things I'm going to change. These are the things we're going to double down on. These are the things we're going to stop doing. Just having that built-in accountability is going to help you to actually make those changes. Because when you say it out loud, there's just something that goes on inside of us that we say, oh, I need to actually do that. I want to operate in integrity is what it is. There's something inside you that says, I want to operate in integrity. So if I say it out loud, I'm promising myself and I'm promising you that I'm going to do these things. So get some accountability around this if you really, really want to supercharge your year-end review. Okay, I have one more thing for you. I know I said 3 components, but I'm throwing in a 4th because as I was putting this together, The practical, yes, are those three things, okay? Have that clear success definition, have a mechanism for tracking your data, and then have an after action review. But I want you to tack this on to there, okay? I'm giving you a fourth bonus component, and that is gratitude and celebration. Norman Vincent Peale said, "The more you practice the art of thankfulness, the more you have to be thankful for." And so what I want you to do is literally have a bulleted section on your notepad where you put gratitude or celebrate. And I want you to look for things from this year that you're going to celebrate and be grateful for. And I mean this regardless of what your data shows, regardless of where you fall on your goal tracking. I want you to be looking for ways that you can be grateful in your business specifically. I'm going to give you some ideas. I have a list, but hopefully you already have some ideas coming to mind, but I'm going to give you some more things to think about, okay? Are there some milestone moments that happened this year? As you look back over the past 12 months, what are the milestone moments for you that you're grateful for? Are there specific clients or customers or horses that have come into your life this year or that have been in your life for a while, but you're just continually grateful to have them? Perhaps you have suppliers or collaborators and partners that you're grateful for, or team members, people that help you out in your business, people that you pay to help you out in your business or volunteer, either one. What are some things you have learned this year that you can choose to be grateful for? What are some processes that you've put in place this year that you know are going to serve you and your business in the coming years? Maybe you've invested in yourself and you've invested in your business in a new way. You have a new website. You have someone helping you with their social media. Perhaps you've invested in some design elements, or there's so many ways you could be investing in your business. What is that? Name those as things to be grateful for. And let me give you a quick word on goals, okay? I'm a huge fan of goal setting because I think it gives us a target. I don't have the source for this quote, but I'm just reminded of it. And it's, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And so goals are important, but here's the reality. Goals give us a thing to strive towards. They give us a marker, but they are not the end all be all to success. And so if you met your goals, I am clapping that up. I am so happy for you. If you didn't meet your goals, then I want you to still look for ways that you can be grateful here. I want you to celebrate progress. I want you to celebrate that you showed up. Were you consistent this year? Did you grow professionally? Did you grow personally? Because we know as entrepreneurs in the equine space, those things are very closely intertwined, right? When we're growing personally, it impacts our business and we're growing professionally. And so write those things down. Be grateful for those moments. Take time to celebrate those. I have another quote from you. So many good quotes for today's episode. This is from Jeff Olson. "Some quit due to slow progress, never grasping the fact that slow progress is progress." So what progress are you going to celebrate and be grateful for that happened this year? Celebrate the 1%, friend, and then continue making that 1% improvement. Okay, so here's your 4. I promised you 3 in the title, but you actually have 4 key components for a supercharged year in review. Number 1, clear why and clear definition of success. Data tracking, okay? Tracking what matters. Number 3, an after action review, getting those action steps in order. And then number 4, gratitude. Take time to be grateful and celebrate. When you do these things as a part of your year-end review, I promise you it is going to set you up for another successful coming year. And that means you'll be ready to set your goals for the year. So again, if you don't have a goal setting process, I invite you to get my free guide. It is brief, okay? It will not take you forever to get through, but it gives you a starting point. It gives you a baseline for you to create a goal setting process so that you can set goals that you'll actually stick to, that will actually impact your business in the coming year. So if you go to stormlily.com/goals, you can get that. Or of course, if you go to the show notes, I will have a link to that free guide there as well for you. I am so pumped for you. So I want to tell you this, if these things are helpful to you, when you sit down and do your year-end review, when you sit down and set your goals, I would love to hear from you. Tag me on social media, do a story, send me a screenshot. Let me know that you are taking action. Let me be your built-in accountability partner. If we are not in coaching together, I still 100% care about your success. That's why I continue to show up here on the podcast. So let me be that accountability partner for you. Feel free to email me when you're setting your goals. Feel free to email me your celebration so I can celebrate with you. All right? Or tag me on social media. Either one. Storm Lily Marketing on all the social media, or head to denise@stormlily.com for my email address, or type that in. That is my email address, and you can send me those wins. I would love to hear from you. Now, this is our last episode together in 2024. So let me just tell you, I am praying blessings over you, blessings over your business. I'm praying you have a blessed Christmas, and that as we enter the new year, that God gives you new hope and vision for you and your horse business. I am so grateful to be here along for the ride with you. And I hope you'll stay tuned, because coming in 2025, I have some more really fun interviews planned. I have some new friends for you to learn from and meet. And it's going to be a fun year here on the podcast. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're sharing this episode with friends so you guys can go through this process together. And then make sure you have a wonderful rest of your year. And I'll see you here again in 2025.